on television screens, two AAP ministers in jail, AAP ministers charged for corruption, and those are very, very negative. A very negative message goes out to the people, and for those who are undecided about the Aam Aadmi Party, or who have not given their support to the Aam Aadmi Party yet, those voters may still, have some sort of a rethink about the claims of the Aam Aadmi Party, particularly because Aam Aadmi Party was born out of an anti-corruption movement.
Rupashri, the resignation copy that you have just sent is now on air, and Mr. Manish Sisodia is saying in this resignation copy, आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री महोदय, मैं इसे अपना बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य समझता हूं कि मुझे आपके नेतृत्व में लगातार 8 वर्षों तक दिल्ली सरकार में मंत्री के रूप में कार्य करने का अवसर मिला. Then he goes on to explain about his equation with अरविंद केजरीवाल, and then he says, ये बहुत दुखद है कि 8 साल तक लगातार ईमानदारी और सत्य निष्ठा के साथ काम करने के बावजूद मेरे ऊपर भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप लगाए जा रहे हैं. मैं जानता हूं, मेरा ईश्वर जानता है कि ये सारे आरोप झूठे हैं. ये आरोप वस्तुतः अरविंद केजरीवाल की सच्चाई की राजनीति से घबराए हुए कायर और कमजोर लोगों की साजिश से ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है. इनका निशाना मैं नहीं हूं, इनका निशाना आप हैं, क्योंकि आज दिल्ली ही नहीं देश भर की जनता आपको एक ऐसे लीडर के रूप में देख रही है जिसके पास देश के लिए एक विजन है, और उस विजन को अमल में लाते हुए लोगों की जिंदगी में बड़े बदलाव लाने की योग्यता भी है. So basically he is saying that my charge is only because I am associated with you. Akash, if you look at the import of this letter, here is Manish Sisodia clearly saying, मुझे डराया, धमकाया, लालच दिया गया, and it's only and only because I am number 2, I am your trusted lieutenant.
Right. And Maria, you see, the tone is emotional, but, one can also see this as, party which is looking for national expansion, and at a time when a minister who is constantly denying that he has nothing to do with corruption case and who has, just gone inside the custody of CBI is writing this letter. This can be considered as a part of strategy as well, because, there were talks going around that now Arvind Kejriwal is looking for plan B. Because, straight from the time when Satyendra Jain was arrested, during that time, in fact, BJP was asking for the resignation, but, Arvind Kejriwal somewhere denied. He, in fact, gave a certificate of, imandari to his ministers. He said that Satyendra Jain is Kattar Imandar. I know him from years. In fact, this was the same claim for Manish Sisodia, in fact. But after development where we have seen that how, Supreme Court refused to entertain the particular plea, and also yesterday the CBI court. Now it seems like Aam Aadmi Party is working on plan B, and this is the reason why resignations are accepted. And, everyone was, in fact, anticipating that now something would happen. In fact, it is not very easy to go with the current conditions where 2 of your ministers are in jail. And, in Punjab, you have a different sort of strategy where, on the basis of allegations, you are asking for the resignation of ministers. And in Delhi, you have a sort of a different strategy where you are constantly denying the claims, and you are saying that, central government is misusing central agencies. Okay. It is very clear. In fact, Rupashri pointed out, it is very clear that Aam Aadmi Party is looking for expansion. They are eyeing on 2024 Lok Sabha elections. And, it would not be wrong saying that Aam Aadmi Party is considering itself as main opposition. And this is the reason why
Akash,
these developments are very important.
I would suggest at the moment, all these plans of Aam Aadmi Party will need a great degree of revisiting. And as Rupashri was pointing out, there is no date that has been mentioned in this letter that has been sent by Manish Sisodia. Arunima, there is a part in this letter, and it was expected that he would raise the question of Delhi school because he has been the education minister. Here is Manish Sisodia saying, दिल्ली के सरकारी स्कूलों में पढ़ रहे लाखों बच्चों की दुआएं मेरे साथ हैं, उनके माता पिता का प्यार मेरे साथ है, और सबसे बड़ी बात, दिल्ली की शिक्षा में क्रांति लाने वाले हजारों शिक्षकों का आशीर्वाद मेरे सर पर है। मेरे खिलाफ इन्होंने जितने भी आरोप लगाए हैं, समय के साथ उनकी सच्चाई सामने आएगी और ये साबित हो जाएगा कि ये सारे आरोप झूठे हैं। नॉट अ वर्ड ऑन द लिकर गेट अरुणिमा, एंड देन ही एंड्स विद सरफरोशी की तमन्ना आज हमारे दिल में है, देखना है जोर कितना बाजुए कातिल में है।
Yes, very political in its orientation.
Yes.
This particular letter that he has addressed, and this has been the criticism that you have been a minister handling 18 portfolios. The charges against you are related to excise. Every time you're accused of wrongdoing in excise, you speak about your role as an education minister and say not a word about the charges that have been leveled against you. That has been the political criticism of Manish Sisodia. That has been the political criticism of Aam Aadmi Party on this issue. And once again, he's reiterating a stance which could lead to further criticism. As far as his role is concerned, the Central Bureau of Investigation so far, even though they named him as accused number 1, could not charge sheet him. They took time to arrest him because they said they were waiting for crucial evidence, and that evidence emerged this Sunday. And they said they wanted to take him into custody to confront him with that evidence. What is that new evidence? Number 1, one of the key associates, alleged key associate, turning approver, telling CBI about the meetings that happened in Hyderabad and in Delhi hotels where the excise policy alleged conspiracy was hashed. Kickback of 100 crore was decided. Hawala transactions of 30 crore as upfront kickback in cash. The currency note numbers, the phone numbers of the Hawala operators, all of that were allegedly revealed by that approver. The charge also that Mr. Sisodia used the same document that the South Lobby, that are co-accused in this case. They printed a 36-page document, and that 36-page was part of Mr. Sisodia's GOM submission as well. The charge being that he actually presented before the GOM what the South Lobby, the co-accused, gave to him. Are these charges true? Are they false? Where is that crucial file on the GOM meet which has gone missing? Why did he change so many mobile handsets? Why did he change so many SIM cards closer to the date of FIR? That's what CBI is asking him, and we find no answer.
Yes, none of the questions that have been raised by the CBI has been answered in this resignation letter. And as the reporters have been pointing out, if anything, this is purely political in nature. Thank you so much for your time, Rupashri, Arunima and Akash. Let me bring in my guests at this hour. R.P. Singh, BJP National Spokesperson, joining me here in the studio. Akshay Marathe, Aam Aadmi Party Spokesperson. Dr. Onika Mohrotra is Congress Spokesperson. Ashwini Dubey, Advocate of the Supreme Court. Smita Prakash, Editor of ANI. Akshay Marathe, you know, as a question which will be asked to the Aam Aadmi Party is, why now? For almost 9 months, you defended Mr. Satyendra Jain, saying that he'll continue in the ministry, that he will be a minister without portfolio. Now, in just matter of 2 days, you realize that Manish Sisodia cannot continue. What made Aam Aadmi Party take this move?
Maria, first of all, I want to clarify that in no way does Aam Aadmi Party back away from our vociferous and vocal defense of the honor and dignity and the honesty and decency of Mr. Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. The resignations that we have seen today have not been asked for by the Chief Minister, even though they may have been now accepted. They have been made by the ministers themselves of their own free will. And the reasoning for that is very clear. The reasoning is that we have been given a mandate by the people of Delhi. We have got 62 out of 70 seats and BJP has got 8 seats.
Not one.
We are supposed to govern the city.
I have the copy of that letter. It's a 3-page letter, Akshay. Not a sentence on the questions that have been raised by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Mr. Sisodia goes on to say, that मैं जानता हूं कि साजिश करता मुझे और आपको परेशान करने के लिए मुझे जेल में डाल रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि उनकी इन साजिशों से सच्चाई की राजनीति की हमारी लड़ाई और मजबूत होगी. So you are essentially talking about politics. There is no facts or anything to do with the questions that have been raised by the investigating agency. Why?
We have a right to defend ourselves, Maria. Are you denying the right to defend ourselves?
Absolutely
we have
not.
a right to say that this is a political case. It is a fabrication. The entire case is based on lies and false propagated by the Bharatiya Janata Party. And until the court of this country says that we are wrong, we will not accept this allegation by the Bharatiya Janata Party.
But
Just
would you
because one
accept,
party
Akshay,
decides after
that
they have
in
lost,
the Supreme
after they have
Court,
lost the election,
when
after they have
the
lost
case
the
was not
election,
even
if they decide
entertained
that we will
today
take out one
on
minister
the
after
FIR,
another,
his arrest case was not taken up because the court, the lawyers of Mr. Sisodia was told, approach the High Court, you have to follow the entire journey. I mean, that is the process that of law. Does the party see that as a setback? And also the fact is that the FIRs against Mr. Jain has not been quashed. So there has been no reprieve whatsoever from the courts of the country.
Surely, Maria, we all understand how the judiciary functions. Until the trial happens, we cannot expect the court to say anything on the charges.
Yes.
Even in this particular case of Mr. Manish Sisodia, the charge sheet filed by the CBI does not even make a mention of him as the accused. Can you believe that? What kind of a joke have we made about our judicial system? That somebody who is not even mentioned in the charge sheet has been arrested merely because he is so politically powerful and opposed to you.
But isn't he accused number one in the FIR?
In the charge sheet, he is not even named, Maria. What are we talking about here? The FIR is more important or the charge sheet is more important? The charge sheet has been filed after the investigation. Let's understand the judicial process.
Yes. Yes.
The investigation happens and then the charge sheet is filed and Mr. Manish Sisodia's name does not feature in the charge sheet. Yet we are supposed to believe all the false allegations of the BJP just because they have the power to arrest doesn't mean that we have to believe that he can be arrested.
Okay.
That is a joke we have made of the judicial system.
Let R.K. Singh come in. R.K. Singh?
Well, you just read out the letter which says Sajish Karta. Who is Sajish Karta in this case is court. Sajish Karta mujhe jail bhejenge. Court has sent him to jail, not us. They went to the court, they went to Supreme Court, to highest court. They were shown mirror by the court and it was thrown on them that you go back to the trial court, you have no right to be here. One. Secondly, 6 months Mr. Sisodia got to go and get this case quashed. He could have gone to the court and said, sir, this is all false, fabricated, please quash this case. Your key functionary Vijay Nair is with police custody, is behind bar from last 4 months. You couldn't get his case quashed. He's the same guy whom you allotted the minister's bungalow. Mr. Kailash Gelot, he was operating from Mr. Kailash Gelot's bungalow. Who in the government would allot a minister's bungalow to a private entity? There was a reason behind it. You are not answering the core questions. The core question is, why did you waive off 144.36 crore when there was no corona between December 15th till January 14th in 21 to 22? You waived off. Who authorized you to return the L1 money 30 crore plus to person who was L1 and he couldn't do the compliance of the tender and his money was returned? I never heard this in the history of the tender process. And why do Mr. Sisodia need 14 mobile phones, sir, in a year? Oh, man is
that
rich
is
enough.
Absolutely false, sir.
He has used only 3 mobile phones in the course of Mr. Marathe, don't be narcissist on television. Maria show. I mean, I heard you patiently. Hear me out patiently. And this is all part of the charge sheet. When you have not read it, I'll send you the copy of the charge sheet.
There is no charge sheet against Mr. Sisodia.
Man changes 4
there is
SIM
no
cards.
charge sheet.
अरे मंत्री जी को 4 SIM कार्ड बदलने की क्या जरूरत पड़
There is no
गई?
charge sheet against
14
Mr.
मोबाइल
Sisodia.
फोन बदलने की क्या जरूरत पड़ गई? And then also sir, आपने पोस्ट फैक्टो अप्रूवल लेने की क्या, जो आपके सारी पॉलिसीज ठीक थी, if your policy was so good, why you to take post facto approval? Why did you went for a post facto cabinet approval, and that too without notifying it to the chief secretary of the city, and that too without telling it to the, you are doing it behalf of the LG, back of the LG. Well, it is categorical that yes, a big scam has happened.
Dr.
Now
Anika Mehrotra,
you could have gone to the court.
You know, before I bring in Smita Prakash and Ashwini, I want to bring in another politician, Dr. Anuka Mehrotra. We have seen the Congress clearly target the Aam Aadmi Party on this issue, while other opposition parties, including the TMC, the left parties, all have come out in support of AAP, saying that there is a misuse of agencies. But the question here is, are you seeing this as a victory for yourself and the BJP with this resignation? Because it were these two parties, that is the BJP and you, who were demanding his resignation.
Ma'am, it's not the question of victory or a brownie point. It's a matter of facts. Let me tell you, yes, the ED, CBI, their cases from 2014 have increased from 300 to 3,000, and conviction rate is very poor. That's a matter of fact. But on the other hand, we talk about the excise policy. There were flaws in it. And on, I think, 3rd of May, our Delhi Congress president went to the police commissioner, complained about it, and also went to Hardeep Puri ji, saying that there were flaws in the policies and it needs to be checked. So hence, we were always against this policy, which had a lot of flaws. So you can't say that we are happy about it or bad about it. Whatever is wrong is wrong. That's what we're trying to project. The policies had flaws. We pointed it out, and the court or the CBI is taking cognizance of the same matter. So let the rule of the law
but talking
prevail.
about resignations,
let us see what it comes out.
Anika, talking about resignations.
Ji. So the point here is, ma'am, see, the anti-corruption crusaders, they joined this party saying that, हम राजनीति करने नहीं आए, राजनीति को बदलने आए हैं. And now they have realized that if this is the format of badalne ki rajniti, their flocks are not together. Okay. They are a scared lot. Their flocks are not together.
Is it really a scared response, Smita Prakash?
The Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party is scared because
who is scared?
My dear friend, your greed for power. You, who else, my dear friend? Because
Nobody
your greed of power has gone to such an extent. You've forgotten what you're doing in Punjab. You've forgotten what you're doing in Punjab. Your ministers are there tarnished, bribed. Why are you so restless?
We are not scared of your dirty
politics. Don't get
politics.
restless.
We are a party that works for people. We are a party that works on education,
Baba, don't get scared, but don't get restless. Like the BJP, don't get restless. Listen patiently. Go and fight it out in the streets. You do that. But having said that, look what you've done to Punjab. Your ministers are tainted. God, your minister tainted in Punjab. You have no face to show. And what you have done in Himachal, you ran away from there.
Because Rahul Gandhi is going to go to jail?
Yes,
are you scared because Sonia Gandhi is going to jail?
Oh my God, Sonia Gandhi.
Are you scared because of the Gandhi family's National Herald case?
My dear friend,
we are not scared of anything. We are a party of Bhagat Singh and Baba Saheb Ambedkar disciples.
And where is Mahatma Gandhi
ji?
We will walk
to jail with a smile
on
our faces.
Where are your posters? Where are your posters? Mahatma Gandhi ji pictures in the back of your offices. You've removed
it, my dear friend. Where is your Rajiv Gandhi photo, the killer of Sikhs?
Do not use.
Where is your Rajiv Gandhi photo?
Do not
the
use Mahatma
Gandhi.
Do not use Bhagat Singh for this cause.
Why don't you have a Rajiv Gandhi
gracious
photo?
enough to understand. Please understand that you have done a gross mistake in this. Your money has been blatantly
you
flaunted.
You will not say this. The courts will say this, madam. I am not going to sit here and listen to your allegations.
All right.
We are not going to listen to your allegations. The court has to say it.
You keep on saying Iman.
No, the court has not said it. But
you have said Iman.
The court has not said it.
Then why did
I'm sorry, the court has not said it.
Don't
saying
resign.
Something. You saying lies on national
Mr.
television.
Kejriwal,
do not make them real.
Please. अरे बाबा आप बंद करिए बोलना because आप बहुत बोल चुके false narrative. You have said a very false narrative to the people of Delhi, and that is why. हाँ आप सुनेंगे because गलतियाँ की हैं, my dear friend, और ये गलतियाँ आप सामने आ चुकी हैं. छुपाने की बात नहीं है इसमें. जो फ्लॉज नहीं आप बोलिए, आपको शौक है, लेकिन ये बताइए
ये तो अब साजिश की बात आ गई that the BJP and the Congress are jointly involved in some kind of conspiracy. Okay, Smita Prakash, what kind of political move is this that you defend one minister for 9 months despite him languishing in jail? The other minister is supposed to resign, and both of them resign simultaneously in one go. And if anything, this resignation letter is quoting Bhagat Singh, that there is some kind of revolution which is going to take place now.
Well, yes, the resignation is more emotional in nature than factual, and that is to be expected. The facts will be debated in court. The letter is not going to be, was not expected to be factual in nature. I mean, and very pertinently, he says, I'm not the target. I'm your man, and hence I have become the target. That's what he's telling Mr. Kejriwal. So the path has been laid as far as the Aam Aadmi Party's strategy is going to be, which is Arvind Kejriwal will go to the people to say that he's the martyr, he's this lone Aam Aadmi now, lone, not India against corruption, not a big entity, but lone man who's been targeted by people in power. And it's also interesting that what Sisodia says talks about the school children and their parents. So Maria, I am a little wondering whether that was just incidental that he mentions about school children and their parents, or is this a call to the parents and to the children to get onto the streets and make this into some kind of, you know, the demonstration and go into the thing and saying hamara aadmi jo hai jail mein dala gaya, because, you know, this party is all about taking every issue to the streets. If you remember, even Kejriwal, when he became chief minister, Razai ओढ़ के South Block के सामने लेट गए थे, विजय चौक पे लेट गए थे. So this is a party which is born out of agitation. Whenever their back is against the wall, they take the path of agitation. So is Mr. Sisodia calling out? That is possible. The other thing which I find very strange is that the bench is so low in the Aam Aadmi Party that pehle to he has just 4 people to handle all these portfolios. I think 33 departments or something like that. Satyendra Jain had 8 departments. Those 8 departments were handled by Mr. Sisodia. And then after that now also he can't find people to do it. Why? Why is the trust factor so low in the Aam Aadmi Party that Mr. Kejriwal cannot find dependable people or trustworthy people? So the perception has got dented, no doubt, Maria, which your reporters also pointed out. So when they go to the people now, like they want to go to Karnataka to fight the election, so for them to go now with that spotless image that they want to convey and this model of development, that's going to get hit. And Mr. Kejriwal is going to wonder whether to handle the working of Delhi government or to go into politics. So it's a dilemma that I think Mr. Kejriwal will face now.
Akshay, the point being made by Smita Prakash, and I would agree with her, is that, sympathy is what Mr. Kejriwal would be hoping for, the Aam Aadmi Party would be hoping for, because if you look at the tone and tenor of this letter, it's very clear that here is Manish Sisodia saying only because I am number 2, that is the reason why I am going to jail. So, if that is the argument, then look at what the BJP is saying, that Mr. Kejriwal himself is the mastermind.
Maria, I actually sympathize with Mr. Sisodia's emotional letter. I have personally worked with him on the education sector from 2016 to 2019. And I have seen the man every morning at 6:30 a.m. he would wake up and go to a round of government schools in Delhi. That man today, who has built the education system of Delhi from scratch, he is being harassed, he is being humiliated by the Bharatiya Janata Party merely to settle political scores with Akshay,
is that the reason? Okay, since you are talking about the Delhi schools, he is addressing the Delhi school students and the teachers. So, is there some kind of provocation here that आप लोग भी सड़क पे आइए मेरे फेवर में बोलिए?
Maria, you might be reading more into this letter than intended, and that is completely your choice. He is making an emotional appeal to the people who have
emotional appeal. I agree with you. It's an emotional letter, Akshay. But because it is an emotional letter, I want to understand from you, because it is being addressed to the students and teachers. That is the reason why I am asking, why is it being addressed to them?
Why are you involving
Maria,
them?
let me finish my point.
Akshay,
There's a
go
lot
ahead.
of crosstalk happening.
Yes, please.
The parents of Delhi government school children have been very active partners along with Mr. Sisodia. You might not know this, but school management committees consist of parents and the local elected representative, and Mr. Sisodia has worked directly with the parents of children to ensure that the schools improve. And that's why he has a very special bond with the parents of Delhi's children. And he has a right to communicate with them. He has been their education minister for the last 8 years. It is his emotional connection with the students and the parents
excise policy, you're talking about education. How long will you hide behind the garb of education?
People who have never worked in education,
why should you fight? You have 18 ministries. Why don't you hide? Why don't you hide behind those ministries? Why don't you hide behind those ministries? Why education? You have 18 ministries. You have 18 ministries.
How will the BJP
Why don't you hide behind those
understand
ministries?
That Mr. Sisodia has a special bond with the people of Delhi? Because they have never worked on government schools. Have you ever heard of a BJP education?
What is the dropout rate?
What is the dropout rates?
What is the dropout? How many principals are missing? How many principals are missing? How many teachers are missing? All vacancy, no principals in schools. What are you talking?
Give me a second. Dr. Mehrotra, please.
Yes.
There are
Go
total
ahead.
number of 1054
You can see
schools
the
in Delhi,
BJP
out of
Congress
which-
tie
Go
up
ahead,
happening
go ahead.
on
Hold
live
on, Mr. Akshay
television.
Malhotra.
Yes, we are seeing
On
that.
live television,
hold
you
on.
can
Yes,
see
we are
BJP
seeing
Congress
BJP and
colluding
Congress
against the
jointly
Aam Aadmi
targeting
Party.
you.
No,
That
no,
is for
darling,
sure.
Thank you.
I'm
Carry
just,
on
I'm
with
just showing
your
you a minute. Hasso mat,
allegations.
abhi
Carry
BJP
on.
ka hata
You
hu.
are trapped.
Exposed
अरे अभी
themselves
I
You
will
have
Hasso
no
रुकिए, I'll
face.
show you the
You
mirror
have
right
no
now.
face to
breaking
show
news.
Out of the
except make
1054
You
false.
run
schools
this as
in
a
Delhi,
breaking news. Congress,
You
BJP
have no
800
alliance
other
schools
since
don't have a
answer to it.
principal.
2017.
You have no
800
answer
schools
to
don't
it,
have a
sir.
principal. 470 schools don't have the vice principal.
There should be a
Exactly.
ticker underneath that Congress
2,832
and
teachers
BJP
are
come
temporary
together on
teachers. What
CNN News
education model
18.
you are talking about?
Congratulations to
After
both
9th
parties.
class,
You have found a match
Carry
made
on
in
wishing.
heaven.
drop
Carry
out of
on
the
wishing.
You are
school.
Carry on
made for
wishing.
each
That's your
other.
education model you
Carry
talk
on.
about.
Carry on.
Just painting
Your
Congress
narrative
and
will
buildings,
not
the
BJP
other
are
last.
make a
made
good
for each
education
other.
Your
model.
narrative,
But
Congratulations on
teachers
your
your
fine. But
marriage
why
emotional
are you
on
hiding
narrative
News
behind
18.
is
this?
not going to
Let's talk
last.
about liquor.
People of
You
Delhi,
opened up a liquor shop outside
they
every
have you have
school. That's the
exposed.
problem. और दिल्ली के स्कूल
I
के
wish you
बच्चे
a
और
very
माताओं
long,
की
happy
आह
married
लगी है
life
You
आपको.
to both the
stand
parties.
exposed, my dear
Both
friend.
Congress and BJP,
You
I wish
have
you a
no
long, happy
face to
married life.
show.
You came
Carry
to
on
And
saying
power because
Congress
of
congratulations on behalf
Congress
of the
Party,
BJP.
people of
sir.
India.
What are you
It was
doing, sir?
Congress
Carry
Party
on
which
saying
got you
that.
to the power for the first time. They supported
You
you
have
to be
been
in the
caught
power in
red-handed.
2013,
You
sir.
are
You are
caught
forgetting that.
Please
red-handed.
accept the
You are
congratulations of
caught
the people of India
red-handed.
that Congress and BJP have
Caught.
finally come together.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah, yeah.
appreciate this
Carry
bonhomie
on,
on
carry
national
on.
You came
television.
to
Carry
power
on,
because
carry
of
We are
on.
very
Congress.
When you have
happy
nothing
to
to
It was
see
the
say,
that
eight,
such
when you
bitter
have nothing to
rivals are
eight
now
say,
MLAs
showing
of
their
the
true
Congress
you
colors
have
who
and
nothing to
supported
say,
standing
you
you
together
have
very
this
to
mask.
form
solid
the government.
understanding
Carry
when
on,
it comes
carry
to
on
the
with your
Aam
mask.
Aadmi
Carry on
Party.
with your mask. Carry on with your mask. Your
Okay,
people
let's get
are now
the legal
pointing fingers
position
at
now
you.
from
This
Ashwini Dubey,
Imandar.
who has been extremely patient, and I go back to the politicians again. Ashwini Dubey, talking about these two cases, Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia, prima facie, it appears that there is much more than what meets the eye. The fact is that in one case, the person has been languishing in jail for over 6 months and he has got no relief. In the other, you have a case in which today the Supreme Court said, follow the entire process, go to avail all the legal remedies before you. Is this an indication that prima facie, again I am saying based on what the evidence that has been produced by the CBI and in that case Enforcement Directorate, it's enough reason for them to be in custody?
Yes, Maria, there are prima facie evidence with the investigating agency, and that was the reason the custodial interrogation is required. And this is the law. My dear brother, who is an advocate, Akshay Marathe, he was saying that the first charge sheet does not indicate his role. But there is a procedure, my dear friend, in under section 173, and as a lawyer, you would understand that the supplementary charge sheet can be filed at any point of time. The CRPC does mention it. We do admit that as of now, you are not guilty. Prima facie, you are guilty. But what the morality requires with a person who is having the constitutional post, that whenever he is involved in any case, he must cooperate with the investigation, and that too when the investigating agency is following the process. Look, Maria, one question which is being raised, that the Lieutenant Governor is also guilty, but look, any decision taken by the cabinet involving a policy matter should be brought to the advance information of the LG. This is the process, and that would hold ground only after a subsequent approval by the LG. And the investigation report, the prima facie investigation, which was carried out by the Chief Secretary, finds the prima facie violations, including deliberate and gross procedural lapses to provide post-tender undue benefits to liquor licenses. So, and in fact, if it was an urgent decision to be taken, but LG should have been informed. And the third is the Rule 57 of Delhi Excise Policy says that if decision is to be taken, that decision must be ratified by the cabinet and subsequently by the governor. Lieutenant Governor, what has happened here? Illegal decisions taken in the past were attempted to be legalized by getting the stamp of a post facto cabinet decision. And that is why the custodial interrogation was required, and you cooperate with the investigation. One other 30 seconds I will take, Maria. What is happening earlier days, political people, our ministers and political person used to have certain kind of duty towards the constitution. Now what is happening, whenever investigating agency wants to investigate somebody, glorification has started. Call is being made to public कि I am like a Bhagat Singh. What is the difference between the Bhagat Singh and Burhan Wani? The Bhagat Singh is a great man. You cannot compare yourself with, because he was a freedom fighter, and Burhan Wani used to do this kind
just hold on to your thoughts, because there is an Aam Aadmi Party press conference that's happening. I'm going to cut across to it.
Minister.
अपने अपने मंत्री पद से इस्तीफा दिया है और ये पूरे हिंदुस्तान के लिए बहुत दुर्भाग्य की बात है कि वो 2 मंत्री जो अपने काम के लिए जाने जाते थे और सिर्फ दिल्ली में नहीं, पूरे हिंदुस्तान में नहीं, पूरी दुनिया में अपने काम के लिए जाने जाने वाले मंत्री श्री सत्येंद्र जैन, श्री मनीष सिसोदिया जी, इन दोनों के पीछे पड़ के केंद्र सरकार ने इन्हें झूठे, फर्जी, नकली मुकदमों में फंसाया है और ये संदेश पूरी दुनिया में जा रहा है आज कि सबसे ज्यादा काम करने वाले मंत्रियों के पीछे देश की केंद्र सरकार पड़ी हुई है। ये कोई अच्छे संकेत नहीं है। ये के झूठे हैं, फर्जी हैं। हमारे दोनों मंत्री पूरी ईमानदारी से अपना पूरा जीवन जो है समर्पण कर रहे हैं इस समाज के लिए, दिल्ली के लिए, अपने देश के लिए। और आज उनका इस्तीफा मुख्यमंत्री जी को मिला है। उन दोनों ने अपना अपना इस्तीफा मुख्यमंत्री जी को दिया है क्योंकि दिल्ली में छोटी कैबिनेट है। मुख्यमंत्री जी और उनके साथ 6 मंत्री मंत्री परिषद में होते हैं और सत्येंद्र जैन जी और मनीष सिसोदिया जी के पास सब लोग जानते हैं ज्यादातर जो अहम मंत्रालय थे, पोर्टफोलियोज थे, डिपार्टमेंट्स थे, वो इन 2 हमारे सीनियर मिनिस्टर्स के पास थे। तो इनकी एब्सेंस में दिल्ली वालों का काम जो है वो प्रभावित ना हो, दिल्ली का काम ना रुके, दिल्ली वालों को कोई परेशानी ना हो, इसलिए इन्होंने इस्तीफे दिए हैं। इनकी जगह 2 नए मंत्री जल्द बनाए जाएंगे, मगर पूरी की पूरी आम आदमी पार्टी और पूरी की पूरी दिल्ली सरकार आम आदमी पार्टी का हर विधायक, हर पार्षद, एक एक कार्यकर्ता मनीष सिसोदिया जी और सत्येंद्र जैन साहब के साथ उनके पीछे खड़ा हुआ है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Message that is coming from the Aam Aadmi Party press conferences that there will be 2 more ministers who will be appointed, and that if anything the entire party stands firmly behind Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. But the question is, why resignation at all? RP Singh, you heard there will be 2 more ministers who will be appointed, of course, because it is about the administrative duties. Mr. Sisodia, till the time he resigned, was holding 18 portfolios.
And 18 mobile phones also. I mean, he bought 18 mobile phones in 1 year. But that point aside, Mr. Satyendra Jain is in jail from last 8 months. Why did it took 8 months to resign? Other thing, Mr. Sisodia's letter, where did he type it, who drafted it, and when did he sign it and undated? It means it was all pre-planned. I mean, they were just waiting for Supreme Court thing to happen. It was there kept with probably the Chief Minister himself. I mean, if you don't get a relief from Supreme Court, we'll have to do it because we can't bear it anymore. And Saurabh Bhardwaj, laat tapakari ab to muh se.
Mita, I'll give you the final word on the show. Aam Aadmi Party says it is because of the administrative, to ensure that the government functions smoothly. That is the reason why these resignations have been, sought. But the resignation letter is not dated. The question is, for an elaborate letter of this nature, was this almost something that the Aam Aadmi Party was prepared? Because if you remember, Smita, Arvind Kejriwal has been talking about it. Kal arrest hoga, parson arrest hoga.
Yeah. So they probably had drafted the letter. I think it was kind of known that it was going to happen any day because of the statements that Mr. Kejriwal was making. But the point is that, the buck stops with the chief minister. Even if he didn't handle the excise directly, everybody knows that Sisodia, Jain and Vijay Nair, as your reporter pointed out, they were the inner circle of the chief minister, and all three are in jail or custody. And there are others also. There's Somnath Bharti, there's Amanatullah Khan, Tahir Hussain. All these people are under the shadow. So, when you talk about, it being handled well, the fact is finance, vigilance, education, health, these are portfolios which were important. And if they were the Navratna portfolios and they were being handled by Mr. Sisodia, then Mr. Kejriwal should have taken over quite some time back when he knew, or when he'd been saying ki arrest honge. He totally depended upon Sisodia to make that Delhi model of governance work. So he was the poster boy of governance. Now, when the poster boy is taken off, with what face do you go to the other states to say that this Kattar Imandar image, that's going to get dented? And we saw the Congress party being so jubilant and the Aam Aadmi Party getting angry. Of course, and I'm seeing some of the reporters saying, or some of the op-eds saying, that why isn't the Congress party going against the BJP and supporting the Aam Aadmi Party? Why would they? Politically, it is suicide. It is the Aam Aadmi Party which replaced, it is the Aam Aadmi Party which replaced the Congress in Delhi. It replaced the Congress in Punjab. Do you expect the Congress to be graceful at this time? No, they won't. They'll do politics. Of course, they'll do politics.
Can I make a small point, Maria? Did you note that Mr. Kejriwal always took name of Satyendra Jain and Sisodia? I mean, he never took name of Gopal Rai or Kailash Gilot or any other minister, because he knew that these are the people who have been working on his behest. So that's why he's been saying that they'll be arrested. So it's clearly that he knew the inside, and then it has happened now.
All right, RP Singh, Akshay Marathe, Dr. Anika Mehrotra, Ashwini Dubey and Smita Prakash, appreciate your time. We are slipping into a short break. After that, I go back to the reporters for the latest that is coming in on this top story from Ground Zero. Stay with us.
The number that they're putting out, quid pro quo, is 100 crore to start with. They're saying 100 crore advance kickback was paid. And as per them, Vijay Nair and Dinesh Arora were the main conduits, the two people who have been named as close associates of Manish Sisodia. So their charge is that you change the excise policy, you increase the profit margin to 12% because you wanted the liquor manufacturers who were getting the L1 license to give back the kickback, the 12% profit margin. Out of that, 6% would be redirected to Aam Aadmi Party associates and their accounts, and this money would then be utilized to fund AAP's election campaign. That's the charge that CBI is making. What do they have so far in terms of proof to back that charge? They claim that in terms of Goa election funding, they have receipts to suggest that people who were advertising or allowing AAP to use their hoardings, they were asked to put on paper deflated bills, and the rest of the payment, the balance payment, was made in cash. They're alleging Hawala transaction proof is available. They're also alleging that cash payment of 70 lakh rupees was made. Now, out of 100 crore that they're alleging so far, only 70 lakh expenditure has been stated. At another place, they say that 20 to 30 crore upfront payment was made right at the start of 2021 in a meeting that happened in Hyderabad between the South Group and Vijay Nair. So these figures have been thrown, but do they have enough paper trail, enough witnesses? And if you have to prove the money trail, you need to complete the chain of criminal conspiracy. And that's what they say they want to question Manish Sisodia about. That was this entire money used in Goa, or has this been stashed somewhere else? There has been a lot of speculations about the way Punjab elections were funded as well. So right now, there are charges, there are allegations, there are some proof. CBI still has to go a long way to complete the chain of criminal conspiracy to tie down Manish Sisodia.
Over the last few days, in a massive setback to the Delhi Aam Aadmi Party government, the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, the number 2 in charge, the key aide to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, in charge of 18 portfolios in the Delhi government, has now been sent to 5 days of CBI custody. That is until March 4th. Now, he is going to be in court. The CBI has argued in court yesterday that Sisodia generated illegal profits via a liquor policy in a secret conspiracy with top liquor barons. You'll remember that the liquor policy they're referring to is a liquor policy introduced by the Delhi government last year. It was introduced and then just a few weeks after rescinded once again. Now, there were many allegations made against the Aam Aadmi Party government, all of which they've refuted, and we'll get into that in just a second. But the CBI also argued that custodial interrogation is essential. Essentially, they've said they need to have Sisodia in front of them to ask him the right questions. They've also said Sisodia is being evasive. Now, Sisodia, on the other hand, has said that the liquor policy was totally above the table. He's also said it was cleared by the LG in 2021. He's also added that he has replied and come for all the rounds of questioning. The round of questioning we saw on Sunday in which he was arrested was only the second round of questioning, and he said he had appeared both times and cooperated with the agency.
पूरी भारतीय जनता पार्टी, केंद्र की मोदी सरकार जिसका कंट्रोल, जिसके इशारे पर यह सारा खेल हो रहा है, पूरी भाजपा चुप है, पूरी केंद्र सरकार चुप है, पूरी सीबीआई चुप है, पूरी ईडी चुप है। ये राजनीतिक प्रतिद्वंदिता के तहत, गंदी राजनीति के तहत ये सारा खेल हो रहा है।
पापी आपको भी पता है कि एक्यूज नंबर 1 कट्टर बेईमान है, और आज ये आदेश आने के बाद ये बात सिद्ध हो गई है।
लगानी चाहिए थी जब इनके शराब घोटाले वाले मंत्री, लूट की खुली छूट अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सरकार में थी। मनीष सिसोदिया जी आरोपी नंबर 1 हो सकते हैं, लेकिन किंग पिन अरविंद केजरीवाल है, और सीबीआई ने पूरी जांच करने के बाद उनकी गिरफ्तारी की है। जांच में सहयोग करना चाहिए।
कल की हमारी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस देखिए, कल ही हमने बता दिया था कि सीबीआई आज कोर्ट में पेश करेगी तो कस्टोडियल इंट्रोगेशन के नाम पे 5 दिन की रिमांड, हमने दिन भी बताया कितने दिन की रिमांड मांगी जाएगी, 5 दिन की रिमांड मांगी जाएगी। और ये स्टेप 1 है, स्टेप 2 क्या होगा, 3 सब बताया था। और बता क्यों पाए थे? क्योंकि ये सारी स्क्रिप्ट जो सीबीआई कह रही है या कर रही है, सारी स्क्रिप्ट जो है ना भारतीय जनता पार्टी के दफ्तर में बैठ कर लिखी गई है। सीबीआई, इनकम टैक्स, ईडी, दिल्ली की पुलिस, ये सारे भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अनुषांगिक संगठन के तौर पे प्रकोष्ठ होते हैं, यूथ विंग, महिला विंग, बिल्कुल वैसे ही फ्रंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के तौर पे बीजेपी के काम कर रहे हैं।
सिर्फ और सिर्फ राजनीतिक कारणों से और अपने घोटालों पर पर्दा डालने के लिए नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने मनीष सिसोदिया को गिरफ्तार किया है। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सरकार, जो पूरे देश में सबसे बेहतरीन काम कर रही है, अनुकरणीय काम कर रही है, लोगों को फ्री बिजली देना, फ्री शिक्षा देना, फ्री स्वास्थ्य की व्यवस्था देना, बुजुर्गों की तीर्थ यात्रा कराना, दरअसल यह गले की हड्डी बन गया नरेंद्र मोदी जी की। वो नहीं चाहते कि देश के अंदर एक ऐसी सरकार चले जो दुनिया और देश के लिए उदाहरण बने। परेशानी यह है, जो दिल्ली सरकार की लोकप्रियता पूरे देश में बढ़ रही है, अरविंद केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी की लोकप्रियता पूरे देश में बढ़ रही है, उससे बौखलाकर यह कार्रवाई की जा रही है। ये तानाशाही की इंतहा है।
Right. Ashish Mehrishi, who covers all of these developments, is with us this morning to bring us context on the entire case. Ashish, good morning. We witnessed a dramatic few days.
देखिए, दिल्ली के 2 करोड़ लोगों का प्यार और आशीर्वाद पाकर दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी दिल्ली के लोगों की सेवा कर रहे हैं। उनका काम किसी प्रकार से रुकना नहीं चाहिए, बाधित नहीं होना चाहिए। इस कारण से दोनों मंत्रियों का, आदरणीय मनीष सिसोदिया जी का और सत्येंद्र जैन जी का इस्तीफा लिया गया है, उसको मुख्यमंत्री जी ने स्वीकार कर लिया है। लेकिन जहां तक इन दोनों मंत्रियों के ऊपर लगे हुए आरोप का सवाल है, ये आरोप पूरी तरीके से बेबुनियाद है, फर्जी है और कोई सत्यता इसमें नहीं है। ये बात मैं फिर से दोहराना चाहता हूं।
If Mr. Manish Sisodia had any moral compass left, being the disciple of Anna Hazare movement, he ought to have resigned on the day this scandalous allegations came to light. He ought to have told, first I will get exonerated, then I will come back. But his plea in the Supreme Court was, I am looking after 18 departments, therefore please give me bail. The keenness was there to run the department, not to explain the scandalous case of corruption. Therefore, again, I would repeat, the whole conduct of Aam Aadmi Party is typified by 3C: cut, commission and corruption.
मनीष सिसोदिया की गिरफ्तारी और उसके बाद इस्तीफा नहीं साबित करते कि कांग्रेस पार्टी जो लगातार आम आदमी पार्टी पर आरोप लगा रही थी, सवाल पूछ रही थी, वो सही थे और वो सही साबित हुए। सवाल इस बात का कि एक इनके मंत्री लगभग 8 महीने से जेल में, आज एक मंत्री पकड़े गए और जेल में, 2 मंत्रियों के इस्तीफा होते हैं, लगातार मंत्रियों के इस्तीफे, 80% मंत्री जेल की हवा खा चुके हैं। सवाल ये उठता है कि जहां जहां आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार है, पंजाब में भी इनके मंत्री और विधायक रंगे हाथों रिश्वत लेते हुए पकड़े जाते हैं। तो मैं अरविंद से कहना चाहता हूं, बजाय इन मंत्रियों के आपको इस्तीफा दे देना चाहिए, क्योंकि आप वो व्यक्ति हैं जिसको आपने ईमानदारी का सर्टिफिकेट दिया, वो तमाम लोग भ्रष्ट साबित हो पाए। निष्पक्षता के साथ जांच होनी चाहिए। आखिर अरविंद को डर किस बात का है? दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी होने देनी चाहिए।
Now, the Delhi Congress demanding the resignation of Aam Aadmi Party Supremo and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. What next in this entire saga? Rupashri Nanda is joining me live. Akash continues to be with us as well. Rupashri, we heard from Saurav Bhardwaj. He said that there will be 2 more ministers who will be sewn in because they realize that the bench strength has come down significantly, and it's about 18 portfolios. It's, you know, it's about the administrative work which has taken a hit now.
Well, Maria, the one important point that I would like to make over here is that I was talking about the date of Manish Sisodia's letter.
Yes.
Now, we are learning from our sources, and this is the inside story, that is Manish Sisodia actually wrote that letter today. And Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal waited for the Supreme Court to take a call on the petition of the Aam Aadmi Party. Remember, that case was fought by Abhishek Manu Singhvi. So, there was a hope within the Aam Aadmi Party that perhaps they will not be denied what would be justice in their eyes from the Supreme Court. So once the Supreme Court told the Aam Aadmi Party and Manish Sisodia to go to the High Court for remedy, that is when the Chief Minister actually made up his mind. And this is because the experience of the Aam Aadmi Party or the government with the judicial system has been that 2 other people, the Manish Sisodia is the 3rd person who is close to Kejriwal and is in jail. The other 2 people is Satyendra Jain has been in jail for close to 10 months now, and the other person, Vijay Nair, has also been in jail now for close to 4 months. So these are very, very long periods for anybody to be in jail and to be constantly being denied bail. And then if you look at the cabinet, actually, like you were saying that Saurav Bhardwaj held that press conference, and we were also mentioning before that in any case Delhi actually doesn't have too many ministers. It is 10% of the number of the legislators in the assembly. So 10% of 70, and Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal does not hold any portfolio. So what has happened now is a redistribution of the portfolios within the existing ministers, that is Kailash Gehlot and Rajkumar Anand. Remember, he is the minister who took over after Rajendra Pal Gautam resigned. So when are those new ministers going to be inducted? It is anybody's guess. In fact, Saurav Bhardwaj's name and Atish's names have also been doing the rounds, but it remains to be seen whether and when other ministers are going to be other people, MLAs are going to be inducted. Now, what next for the Aam Aadmi Party essentially is that Kejriwal is going to focus not just in Delhi but more importantly on expansion plans, because he realizes that constantly being all the spokespersons in the party, the entire resources of the government, everything goes towards defending Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, Vijay Nair, and they have done it for a pretty long time, though not for as long as not for such a long time for Manish Sisodia. And it would have been a drain on whatever capital that they have been able to gather or build so far. And the upcoming budget session also, the presentation of the budget, becomes that also very, gave very a sense important. Of urgency. Gave a sense of urgency, and therefore Kejriwal actually chose to bite the bullet. And it must have been a very painful decision for him, considering the fact that when it came to Satyendra Jain, he waited for so long, and when it came to Manish Sisodia, it is hardly just
absolutely 2 days. In the matter of 48 hours, resignation coming in of Manish Sisodia. Arunima, would you say that the Supreme Court decision and the order that you have to follow the entire legal process, go and avail the legal route that is available before you, that was the final nail in the coffin? Because the Aam Aadmi Party realized that with no legal reprieve coming for Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain being in jail for 9 months, the FIR has not been quashed, no relief whatsoever, it means that prima facie there is enough evidence that this could be, a long legal battle for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Yes, the Supreme Court decision to not provide any relief would have been a factor. I can tell you after speaking to senior officials that they were also, if I can say so, nervously watching the Supreme Court of India's proceedings. They were quite taken aback initially when the Supreme Court decided to give this plea a hearing, because CBI officials were quite confident that they had solid evidence based on which they had carried out Manish Sisodia's arrest. This was repeatedly asked from them, but you named him as accused number 1, yet you did not arrest him when you called him for questioning. You did not name him in the charge sheet. So what exactly do you have against him? And Aam Aadmi Party politically has attacked CBI repeatedly, including Mr. Sisodia, that you've searched my lockers, you've searched my office, you've searched my residence. Where is that, bribe amount that you keep talking about? What is it that you have against me? So today when the CBI, the battery of lawyers from CBI side also ended up at the Rouse Avenue Court, yesterday and today also at the Supreme Court. So when the Supreme Court upheld the right to arrest and the reasons for arrest, they were breathing a sigh of relief, and perhaps that played a role in Chief Minister of Delhi accepting Manish Sisodia's resignation as well. Politically speaking, though, the trouble is far from over. Kailash Gehlot has been given the charge, as Rupushri is reporting. There is the sword of the DTC bus scam hanging over him. There is also a possibility of a second FIR against Manish Sisodia. The sanction to investigate has already come in the alleged political snooping matter in Delhi. There too, CBI is just waiting for the formalities to be completed, and they feel they have evidence to prove a PC Act. So things were really gearing up against Mr. Sisodia, perhaps the reason why this call was taken.
Okay, last question to you, to the reporter who's joining me, Akash. Akash, we have seen protests by the Aam Aadmi Party. Is that not a strategy anymore? Because they realize that as far as the People's Court is concerned, perhaps there is much more that the party has to explain. And hence, will they be having a parallel strategy while they continue with the fight in the courts legally? What about this perception battle, which has certainly taken a hit?
Right. In fact, just yesterday when party decided to carry out this nationwide protest, the message that they were trying to give is that central government is at this point in time is, trying to just shut off the voice of opposition. And in fact, this is the reason why we saw that, protests were carried out in Mumbai, in Nagpur, in Chhattisgarh, and in number of states. Now, coming back to this point where Aam Aadmi Party, in fact, Arvind Kejriwal has accepted the resignation of these ministers. So, there were talks going around that, now Aam Aadmi Party has to work on plan B because, otherwise also they are in fact eyeing on 2024. But having said that, Maria, it is important to mention that opposition is on the very same line. They are saying that since you have accepted the resignations of your ministers, now you should also resign on moral grounds. Okay. So, these attacks are not going to stop. And in fact, just a few minutes back, when we were playing the sound bite of Chaudhry Anil Kumar, he is saying that this is the, victory of people of Delhi, where, there were allegations on ministers. These ministers were arrested, and now subsequently they have resigned, and you have accepted the particular resignation. Now they are asking for the resignation of Arvind Kejriwal. But as Rupushri was pointing out, Aam Aadmi Party is also eyeing on national politics, and this is the reason why we are saying that now they are back on their strategy where they used to say that in fact if we have any sort of charge on our minister, any sort of allegation on our minister,
Akash,
then
really appreciate your time. I have run short of time now. Rupashri, Akash and Arunima, thank you so much for joining us. So the top story at this hour is 2 resignations, Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain, both of them resigning after clearly their position becoming untenable in Arvind Kejriwal's cabinet here in the national capital. That's all from me. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. We'll start with Delhi, ladies and gentlemen, where it's been a day of very interesting twists and turns in Delhi politics as Manish Sisodia moved the Supreme Court seeking bail in the excise policy case and claimed that he had cooperated in the investigation and that the arrest is illegal. A bench comprising Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice P.S. Narasimha refused to entertain Sisodia's petition and said he had remedies before the trial court concerned as well as the Delhi High Court. Shortly thereafter, Manish Sisodia and the State Health Minister Satyendra Jain resigned from their posts in the State Cabinet. It is now confirmed that Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has accepted their resignation. Sisodia's portfolios will be given to Transport Minister Kailash Gehlot and Social Welfare Minister Rajkumar Anand. Interestingly, according to reports citing sources from within the Aam Aadmi Party, the party had claimed on Monday that it was too early to discuss about a replacement for Sisodia, who holds 18 of the 33 departments in the Delhi government. His workload had actually increased after Satyendra Jain was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in May 2022. Sisodia was handed over Jain's portfolios such as health, industries, power, home, urban development, irrigation, flood control and water. So Manish Sisodia arguably was the most powerful personality within the Delhi government because the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal himself holds no portfolios, ladies and gentlemen. So now, what happens? CBI arrested Manish Sisodia on the 26th of February. Satyendra Jain already in Tihar jail for over 8 months, nearly 253 days if I remember correctly. Charged for corruption in alleged excise policy scam, charged in a money laundering case. Held 18 portfolios in the AAP government. Jain's 8 portfolios had also been handed over to Sisodia. So what happens? The biggest challenge